And whenever he is on one of these impactful heroes, he makes the game for his team easier. So I think that's something that they should at least consider. Last game, Tracer setup didn't really do it quite for them. But yeah, this is going to be the important one. So let's see if Fnatic can bring it back. First pick for them, Tomb of the Spider Queen. And oh, shocking, a Medivh ban incoming.
Medivh ban incoming. There it goes. Will it be a Garrosh ban here for Zealots? Will they try to take away tank? Are they going to stick with the Tracer ban as they did in early series? Let's see.
Could also target Genji again. I mean, it's targeting
right.
Cognix hero pool. Genji's strong because of the rotational play that you have on the map. So I think there's like 3 options. You ban either Genji, you target the front line, which I don't think they're going to do, because Fnatic would then pick the other one, or you target maybe around the supports.
And correction, Zealots actually haven't banned a Tracer. That was Fnatic banned Tracer.
Fnatic on game 2, exactly. They banned Tracer. And Zealots so far have banned Garrosh, Genji, and Hanzo in that order. And they're really thinking about this.
Yeah.
Leoric, all right, they're targeting Benny, bottom lane here. And as we heard from, I mean, to an extent, he was kidding, but earlier we heard Quacknix and was like, well, the ADR factor, you don't know what's going on, all of a sudden they pick Cho'Gath.
Yeah.
So, Leoric ban already makes us a little bit suspicious here, but it's also a hero that Fnatic actually really likes to play on the map. So, and it's part of the comp that Fnatic uses a lot. I mean, they're really trying to get these isolations going. We've seen them with the Entomb into a 7-sided, then today we saw Entomb Gust into 7-sided. So yeah, there's a lot to say about that. Yeah,
I really think it's going to the mindset of Zealot saying, okay, we can actually fight Fnatic toe-to-toe, we can handle them in an actual fight if we do not get blown up. And I think that's one step here to take away that Leo.
I mean, Leo and Malfurion are the most played heroes on Tomb of the Spider Queen from Fnatic. They have played 6 games on the map, and they picked Leo 4 times. So it's a really popular hero for them. And they are starting things off with Hanzo. So they're leaving both of the tanks open. No matter what tank Zealots pick, if Fnatic is really determined to go into either Garrosh or Garrosh or Diablo, they can get the other one on their own pick. Supports are also open, and the Tacita Tracer comp on the side of their opponent. Okay, so at this point, basically, Zealots is just saying, like, we're going to show you how this is done.
Actually, what was the last time we've seen the Tracer picked up here for Chris? It has been a while. I remember the last series, and they were banned the entire time. So Chris, bringing the Tracer out.
Zealots has played Tracer 3 times, and all 3 times they won their game.
Like 20 times at Western Clash, though. Can't forget about that. Like,
yeah, but the European play, just focusing on league play, 3-0 currently on the hero.
So Tracer will be played. Fnatic can think about that. When it comes to tanks, you're thinking about.
Also, when we're talking Tacita, I mean, we talk a lot about Tacita lately as a double support. Just to give you a bit of an idea, Zealots have played Tacita 11 times, 8 wins and 3 losses, and the next team that has, like, the next team is leftovers with 5 times. So Zealots play Tacita more than anyone else. They played it with Hanzo, they played it with Tracer.
Yeah.
They really like their Tacita setups for this map, and of course in part 1 heavily with the Uther, Tacita, and Hanzo setup.
Well, that also goes back to the point that ADR told us about the Western Clash, is that he just didn't have the ping to be able to play a bunch of other heroes, so they play a lot of Tacita to make sure that he was safe. Because he was moving into a new location and the internet was a little unstable for him. Okay,
this makes me a little bit suspicious here. Malfurion and Genji are great picks, don't get me wrong. Genji in particular, for reasons pointed out earlier, I could have even seen it as an early ban. But now you're talking tanks. And we have seen Breeze on a variant against Tracer. Now, I'm just throwing it out because there's a chance that either Garrosh or Diablo is maybe banned and the other one picked away. There's still other options that they have, ETCs out there, but we have to still keep variant in mind. The big downside of Varian is that you are a little bit more squishy towards the later stage of the games now, after the rework, and you don't... Okay.
They are thinking about it.
Forget everything else I was about to say, because Zealots are at this point saying, we saw your Varian.
And they banned Diablo. I want to make sure Genji doesn't have a hard time.
Yeah. So again, Breeze can still, if Stukov is taken, if Garrosh is taken, he can still go into ETC or Muradin. Has still a lot that he can do. But I would not have put it past Fnatic to pick Varian again and try and shut Tracer down early on. The one downside is, of course, the wave clear, and there you have to be careful. But Zealots are not even risking that. They're just saying, like, yeah, this is not going to happen, boys.
And speaking of that wave clear, do we move into the Stukov Garrosh, or do you think maybe we'll get a Johanna here instead to make sure they have the wave clear on lock?
I actually don't know. I think if it is up to Mopsio, he's probably going to try and go for Garrosh here. But Johanna is definitely, with the wave clear, quite strong and would be a good choice for them too. I mean, traditionally, when you look at what they've played so far, they played both heroes quite a fair amount. So there's not really a big priority yet. But I feel it comes down to if Mobster gets his will, or if ARD is just like putting in his veto and saying like no.
Well, it's time. Garrosh comes out, and we're actually getting Blaze. So healer is left open. Obviously, with Malfurion RB on the side for Fnatic, they can leave that open and try to have the best response possible.
Okay, so we have... I mean, are we going to see ETC? Is that going to be the pick for them? Played ETC twice. I mean, they played EG, like outside of what we've seen so far, ETC seems to be really the hero to go for them here. I guess I'm a little bit more curious to see what's happening on that bottom lane, if we're going to see a Thrall again, as we've seen before, into that Blaze setup, but in ETC and Thrall, I'm not really sure if they find themselves a bit too much on the squishy side again. They played Muradin, Fnatic does, played Muradin twice here as well, but they lost both of those games.
Have we seen Bad Benny on a Malfield before?
Bad Benny on Malfield? Give me a second, I'm going to let you know. I don't think so, no. They haven't played Malfield once. They're the only team in HGC Europe that hasn't played Malfield yet.
I feel like this is like a prime time to actually pick up Malfield. Might be a little bit too squishy against Tracer, but helpful against Garrosh and Blaze. Put a little bit of pressure on them. Gonna be Johanna and Sonya. Jinx, you'll be a Dr. Pepper.
Sonya, I'm like, yeah, she's still there. Okay, yeah, that was a brain fart on my part. Didn't even consider her. For some reason, she'd completely disappeared from me. I was like, what are I going to pick? Is it going to be a Thrall pick again? I was like, I'm not so sure about Thrall. And that setup here. But yeah, Sonya is still out there, so duh.
Now I need our healer from the Zealots. I mean, Stukov is still up and available. It's been on Zealot special. I can see Uther being here good too.
I would really expect Stukov to be picked by them.
Yeah. Just discussing options.
No, definitely, but it would have been surprised if they pick anything else here. I mean, if you want to make sure, I guess you can play a Rega, and if you want to make sure that no matter what happens at the front line, you're going to save these targets. But yeah, Stukov, Garrosh, Blaze. That's rough. And you have Hanzo. Sneak the camps, of course.
Who do you like more?
I'm having a tough time, to be honest. I feel like the wave clear aspect is pretty strong on the side of Fnatic, especially that Hanzo setup. I think it comes down a lot to how much pressure Genji can apply to the backline. But after the last game, I'm a little bit scared. Fnatic really needs to get their stuff together, and they have very little actual wombo potential here, and that what worries me a bit, because I think that's where Fnatic excelled on Friday and also in the first game today, that they sync their cooldowns around heroics so well that they got these isolation kills and these quick picks, and they just don't have that here. We don't have any of that follow-up. You can maybe use a Blessed Shield into an Hanzo arrow and have a bit of lockdown there, so that's what worries me for Fnatic. I think Zealots can take away
yeah, I'm actually there with you. I'm a little bit scared for Fnatic. Zealots having that Tracer that did so well at the Western Clash. They have Garrosh here as well, and they have Stukov, which has been one of their mains. Let's go straight into it. Here on the left for Fnatic, Mane playing Hanzo, Bad Benny on Sonya, Quack on Genji, Breeze to play Johanna, and Smexy with the Malfurion.
And over to the right side of the map, their opponents, Zealots, in the lead in the best-of-5 series, with Mopsy again on Garrosh, Chris on Tracer, ADRD on Tassadar, Shat on Stukov, and Blaze is being played by Zarmany. If Zealot takes it here, then they are victorious in the series. They claim the best-of-5 victory, and Fnatic would have a much rougher time to qualify for the mid-season brawl.
Gonna watch these two batter in the middle lane here, as Fnatic and Zealots dance around, watching Mopsy, see if he can get that combo. Mana already scatting him out and dropping that Stormbow. Now Chris has been pretty decisive on his Tracer. For one of the reasons why he's so darn good there is the team is willing to follow him up and make sure to set him up for plays. You'll see consistently when we get in team fights, Blaze later on willing to drop down a bunker to have an out point for Chris if he wants to make sure that he can get away from his opponents. And I'm more curious to see whether or not Genji is able to chase down that Tracer.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the big one for me personally. If Genji is able to have that impact, he has the tools that he can use to put pressure on those lanes, at the bot lane in particular, make it a bit more difficult for Blaze to go up against Sonya here and just use his mobility. We already have that mobility targeted with a level 1 talent that was picked here going for the agile dismount, but they have to be on point here on an individual level. This is not so much about the coordination, that's always important as well, but they need to make sure that on an individual level they're really putting the plays in. And Breeze is already under heavy pressure here at the top. Chris is gonna be supported the entire game, and he's gonna try and make these plays. I'm worried for Fnatic. I'm really worried here. I would love a 5th game, but let's find out if Zealots, and in particular Chris with his Tracer, can shut them down in game number 4.
And Johanna already expecting that damage to be coming her way. For level 1, pick up the hold your ground over the Laws of Hope that you normally get for that region coming in there. This increases the shield by 30%, and also reduces that cooldown, so you're able to pop up that Iron Skin a little more. And you're also going to need that against the Garrosh. So a good pickup here by Breeze to see adjust based on his opponent's composition. Should be nice and safe. But you saw how difficult it's still going to be, almost falling there to the Tracer pressure in that top lane.
And a lot of this is, of course, coming down again to wave clear and early turn-in potential. So how much can you do with that? And from a wave clear perspective, Blaze is great. You have also then Tassadar and ADRD. But we have quite a few tools for Fnatic. So if they can maybe work around those turn-ins, get those early with Johanna, with Sonya, with also Hanzo, and just get that lead and maybe get an experience advantage, that could be the way to win this game, or at least get strong here. Iron Skin already popped on the side of Breeze here as he starts to move in. Mopsio is still waiting for a flip, and here is that slow in the silence.
Pulse Bomb out, there goes the Groundbreaker, he still has that throw. Will he grab Breeze? Tosses him for style points forward just to get that kill.
No, Breeze down, first kill. Zealots with the first blood here.
I'm a little worried.
Me too. Like,
I feel like Zealots is catching fire right now, and Fnatic is losing steam after game number 1. But game number 1, they looked like they were together, on point on their calls.
I'm missing combo potential on this. This is what it comes down to. When we have any kind of setup with Diablo, for example, then Fnatic usually has these synced up plays that they do. But now they're going to lose Bad Benny if they're not careful. Yeah, he walks straight into ADRD. He's trying to go for the spin to win. And he barely gets out. Wow. Like, I would have bet money on him dying. But just, what are we seeing? We're jumping the entire time over different spots on the map. Our observer here absolutely on point right now, just showcasing these things. But what are we seeing? Every single time we're seeing Fnatic on a run.
Yeah.
We're seeing them running away, trying to survive, trying to keep their heroes in play. And Zealots have taken control of every aspect of this game. They're pushing them back on the lanes. They're starting to control the turn-in points. We have 38 gems already turned in. And that is just a worrisome setup if you're a Fnatic fan. For Zealots fans out there, this game is currently going extremely well, and they should be pretty happy with how their team is performing.
I mean, I for one am really enjoying this Hearthstone competition for Fnatic, where they show off the Hearthstone animation every time they take a lot of damage from an opponent. That's a really cool composition. Thank you for that, Fnatic. It's beautiful.
It's fantastic, yeah.
Showing off the art of the Blizzard Heroes team.
All right.
Nice.
Are we getting lore now, by the way?
And we are getting lore now. And Decker Cade. Oh, Sonya coming in here to fight Zarmany. Zarmany is kind of low on mana.
This is actually good for Fnatic because their rotation was way faster. We had 2 heroes at the top. And Zealots also realizes that, so they move away. They don't fight for the camp. But here's the turn-in attempt. Breeze interrupts it. Good unstoppable. Nice Iron Skin by him. No. And now we could still see the turn-in on both sides. Both of them have the tools. Quacknix moving out here, poking a bit against Zarmany, but Benny actually still waiting to see if he can land one of these spears. He wants to set those Siege Giants into play. That was a good play by Fnatic in general, that they took both of these camps and they applied the pressure onto the lanes. That's really impactful. And again, we're coming back to the turn-in. If they can confirm it, if they can use their wave clear to get the early turn-in and have the gem count there, then they can maybe push Zealots back. Because Zealots, they don't have a lot of tools to really defend outside of Blaze and the poke with Tassadar Storm.
Finally, those Giants get cleaned up in the bottom lane, so Zealots can start to actually deal with the mini-wave. But Sonya is starting to take the lead in this lane, with Quack coming in here to help secure the kill.
Nice, good job here.
Fnatic find themselves in the game.
And that's a turn-in. That's the turn-in, very likely. There's one to interrupt down at the bot lane, but only Sonya has to turn in. And Sonya's trying that, and now Mopsio is trying to get close enough. Shat as well, but they are forced. Zealots is forced into an aggressive spot here. They don't want to be there. And now we have, up at the top, Johanna turning in. Quacknix has the protect. Oh, that bomb! Nice play. Chris forcing him to use deflect and then timing the bomb perfectly. Great play by Chris here. Really good kill, and an important one as the Web Weavers are just now coming down.
Mopsio finding a catch on Mane as well, trying to get a kill. Mane is able to hop on out, but as you mentioned, the kill before the Web Weavers come down and land, and now Zealots can focus on clearing them out. Tassadar jumps in the middle lane with the rest of Zealots, while Blaze will deal with the bottom, so Zealots should be okay here, as long as they don't fall victim to anyone on the side of Fnatic.
I mean, they should still lose a few structures and fall a bit behind in experience. Genji is now also on the way. They don't have a lot of clear potential. That's the one thing with Zealots. They do not have a lot of tools to clear these Web Weavers fast. Chris has to be cautious and is already down to half HP up at the top. Breeze has pushed this in a bit, but now they're trying to go for the turrets. And of course also Smexy with the roots on the ground. Deep roots on level 7 allow him to really lock this entrance down quite handily. Sonya is still pushing down at the bot, and that's a double turret in favor of Fnatic. So they're taking that slight lead now. They will hit the earlier level 10, but Zealots still did very well with their own defense.
They did. Both teams on the cusp of level 10 here. Gotta be a bit careful that no one falls. Quack actually taking a bit more damage from Chris. I'll recall at the last second there.
Quack is really careful to not use his deflector early this time.
Yeah.
Learned his lesson.
Gotta be careful of that pulse bomb. Getting healed up by Smexy. 10 hits for Fnatic, so Zealots will wait a little bit before they go for that turn in, but they can get 10 themselves. In fact, they're prepping pretty well here to push in the mid lane as they grab their Merc camps.
Fnatic should actually start to turn their own gems in now as they have the time. The camp is taken and they can't interrupt that, but if they can get rid of the 51 gems that they hold, that would be important. But Benny was a bit too late with that, so now he gets attacked. Still trying to make that work, and is actually going to deliver them. That also opens up Sonya for a few more aggressive plays. Doesn't have to be as afraid anymore. 10 on both sides, and now this is getting interesting. If around a good Twilight Dream, Fnatic can make a play with a Blessed Shield and Enhancer Arrow, that would really work for them. But we have Zealots with so many layered defense tools now. Not only, and even discounting here the Warlord's challenge, so the taunt is going to be fantastic. Red Web Weavers going to be in play. Fnatic again has a little bit more deep push, I feel, than Zealots do. But this game is tense. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is really a bit of a heartbeat. Zealots the entire time with good play. It's a great kill that we saw from Chris. Fnatic struggling a bit here in the early game in particular. And there's a lot on the line here, as we said. Zealots, they want the 3-1. They don't want to go into the 5th map. They want to close this out now.
What I enjoy about this, too, is Zealots also stop the double turn in from Fnatic, so that gets them in a spot where at least they have a one turn in each for each team. Shad getting locked down here on the top left as Breeze goes for the body block. Arrow comes out, but Mane unable to connect it, so Chris goes in. He gets a kill on Malfurion with the pulse bomb with the help of ADRD. And next, we're looking at Johanna, who's getting slowed and silent. She can't even Iron Skin yet. Now she goes back, gets the Iron Skin, but she's already done. That's 2 fall for Fnatic.
Double kill, and Shad with the perfect positioning here. Moving in deep, cutting off the path of retreat, and that's the kill right there. Zealots with a 1 level lead, 4 kills against 1, and the Web Weaver still pushing.
Ouch. 4 dead, definitely in the top. Middle gonna take some damage, might fall as well. Nah, just down to half health. That gets cleaned up pretty quickly. And that's gonna be a nice chunk of experience. Look at that, jumping all the way to level 13. Zealots taking a pretty big lead, and they'll have a turn-in available for them soon afterwards.
Fnatic is just... they're starting to fall apart here. Level 13 talents for Zealots now. Zealots have complete control of this game again. And for Fnatic, this is going to be extremely tough to come back into this. I mean, again, how do you make that comeback? You really need to try and get Enhancer Arrow in. You follow it up with a Blessed Shield and a good silence from Malfurion with the Twilight Dream, and then somehow get these kills, open up the resets for Genji so that he can get a lot of damage in. Especially if you are able to take down Tracer, then you can maybe play around that. But it's just tricky for Fnatic to make these setups happen, and that's the one thing that worries me. They're only half a level away from their own 13, but that should be a second turn in for Zealots now, and indeed it is.
Yeah. Tracer and Stukov, the main targets that Zealots need to lose here for Fnatic to start winning a team fight. But that front line, as you mentioned, is devastating. Garrosh, as well as Blaze now with the bunker, should be able to protect them quite well, especially with this talent advantage. More turn-ins occurring, as you mentioned. The Night Camp in the middle gets easily cleaned up by Zealots. They are on a roll here to open up the map, at least get that bottom 4, and maybe start looking towards the keep wall.
Yeah, no, they have half a level to 13, Fnatic that is. They're going to bleed here, but they should be able to force a 13-13 fight afterwards, or maybe around it. So that's at least something that works for them. They're not going to fall so far behind that Zealots is holding on to a level 16 talent right away, and Fnatic is again playing catch-up. So they're already aggressively moving out here. Chris is behind them, but he won't be able to move in here just yet. So the first Web Weaver is defended. They're starting a rotation, but Benny is already finding himself on the way to the bot lane. And Fnatic still has that kill potential, but they need to find these kills. And especially Stukov makes that difficult, because the silence that we see with the lurking arm coming from Shad is always there when needed.
And that was that route that you were mentioning, hitting Sonya. Sonya moves it back up. Thank golly, there was a gate there. Tracy would have gone in and got that pulse and tried to take her out. Bottom wave pushes in, they break through the keep wall, and they look to get some damage on this keep. Bad Benny being chased away by Chris, and that opens up the map a little bit here for Zealots to position well.
Breeze gets shoved towards the end of the map, and that's actually going to be keep. With him gone, they can't engage, and now this keep is down. Chris is taking it, and even if Fnatic finds a kill here, 16, there's the stun. That's the monster stun. Blessed Shield comes out immediately after. This is the full combo that Fnatic hits, and it didn't do anything it did nothing. Breeze could have maybe held that Blessed Shield a little bit longer, but even that wouldn't have mattered. This was the entire setup that Fnatic has. The only potential combo with a Hanzo Arrow into a Blessed Shield into a Twilight Dream, and it just didn't do anything. Zealots just stood there and was like, that's all you got, really?
Silence went down from Shad. Mobsteel turned around and tossed more targets into it. It just felt like Fnatic just could not move forward. And Zealots now with a 3-level lead, a talent advantage, and it looks like a boss are going to stop this push from Fnatic, because Fnatic was able to sneak that turn in, but the boss should be able to negate that.
Yeah, right now this is disastrous for Fnatic. 3 levels behind nearly, make it 2.5. 1 talent behind, 5 kills against 1. Fnatic needs to find a kill. There's no other way around it. You're not going to play a macro game around Zealots here anytime soon. And they are struggling. They need to find an opening, maybe a flank, kill a target, preferably Tracer. If not, then try and take out Shad so that support is gone, and somehow get a fight going. Because at this point, it's a very linear battle that we're seeing. We see on the left Fnatic, we see on the right side Zealots the entire time clashing against each other, and Fnatic just has a rough time breaking through all of this. Down goes Bad Benny, Sonya's dead, the arrow hits, and Fnatic is just getting dismantled here.
Did you see Chris? He dashed forward, got the melee, and recalled right when the arrow came through so he could dodge it, and then finished off Bad Benny. That was pretty clean to see. It did connect with Shad afterwards, but still, Chris showing how to play Tracer.
Yeah, Chris, absolutely. I mean, again, there's a huge difference now from this game to the last when we look at the Tracer Tassadar composition. Great play, and that's the second keep that's down. Zealots are currently toying with their food.
Their food is about to go bad, though. You might not want to eat that soon. It's
Yeah.
falling apart pretty quickly.
That's a 3-level lead. Zealots make this look like quick match at this point.
I mean, leftovers look a little bit more tasty right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
That's a HGC Europe joke. Did you get it? That was awesome.
Can you explain it to me? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, so there's a team currently in HGC Europe right now that are at the bottom of the standings, and they are doing pretty well lately, and they're not getting 4-level leaded by Zealots right now. So it's a tie-in to leftovers and food.
What's the name?
Leftovers.
Oh my god, that's actually so clever.
Thank you. It's whatever. It's another day at the office, as Zealots are currently sitting in the office right now, and they are just steamrolling. Only 1 keeps standing in a core for Fnatic.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, this is pretty sad what we're seeing right now. Like, the game 1 was awesome, and game 2, Volskaya was super close. Then we have Battlefield of Eternity, which spiraled out of Fnatic's control a little bit. That was understandable. It's an early game that goes wrong for you, and then it just looks bad. But right now, at this point, just watching this is pretty sad. Zealots are dominating this completely. They play fantastic here. Shad is anchoring every single play. Fnatic has a rough time going past Mopsio on Garrosh. I feel we don't even need plays with a bunker in a lot of these situations, and that just makes it worse. Fnatic just doesn't... I don't just... There's very little kill potential. You know, there's like no pressure that comes from Fnatic, and there wasn't any from early game to late game. They need to make a play now at 16 and force something. This is the only chance now that they have.
I feel like this is their final chance.
Yeah, they're 3 levels behind. They have lost 2 keeps. They need to be aggressive. They can't just sit there and take the beating all day long. They have gems, but they also lost too many, so they can't turn in now. But they need a kill. And Zealots, I mean, the Zealots aren't stupid. They're not looking at this like, okay, let's fight. They're actually just sitting back and saying like, well, you haven't even taken our forts yet, boys. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
We're gonna sit there. We're gonna play that safe. We're gonna soak experience. If we see a good fight and a good chance, a good setup, then yes, we're gonna take it. But outside of that, we have time. You are the ones on the clock.
They're like, hey, you're so far behind. Take whatever you want right now. We're just gonna passively get level 20. Quack comes in to soak a little bit at the top, but Chris puts some damage on him, but immediately just backs up and what Quack gets his cooldown. Zealots continue to play safe. They are playing this right. They are playing it by the book. And they also have a turn-in available for them. If they can get it in around 19.5, they'll be able to push and get level 20, get a nice little timing attack, and go for the core.
I mean, for our standings in Europe, a Zealot's victory here would just make things even more interesting. Yeah. But Fnatic is just looking completely... again, if we compare Game 1, Game 2, and also the series against Method on Friday, that looked completely different. I feel Fnatic, when they're drafting, they should really try and get these synergies going, because with those they excel and they do really well with them. Here comes again another Warlord's challenge. They're going in once more. Bad Benny surviving for now. Is that the opening for Fnatic? Is that the moment where they can turn it around? Benny goes down. Sonya eliminated. Bunker on the ground, giving the extra armor over to the Zealots, and that was enough. Now they are aiming for Breeze. He's going to fall as well. Kill number 8 and number 9 are gone. And Chris once more doesn't get it, since they're just jumping away here. but right now Zealots on the way to victory. They have level 20, they can confirm the turn-in, and that's exactly what they're doing. Only one keep standing for Fnatic. Zealots is going to look to end now.
A 4-level lead. Web Weaver's pushing in. 17 about to hit for Fnatic, but they still don't even have their Johanna for a good 15 seconds. Zealots are looking to end here and win the series with a 3-1. Archon has been popped. ADRD to push in the middle wave. They're going to spring everything. Paint the map red and make sure to end on a high note. Zealots completely destroying here on game number 4. Fnatic is set up with all 5. They're going to attempt to go for a defense, but it's looking difficult.
Yeah, and Zealots, I mean, they also took down the keep. They didn't go straight for the core. So even if they can't end here, and I think that's an outside chance, then it's still going to be nearly impossible for Fnatic to come back. Once again, it's Benny that is targeted. He goes down, eliminated once more. That is death number 4 on Benny, 4 deaths on Breeze. The front line just today not holding a candle to what the Zealots have. Down go Malfurion and Hanzo, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be game. Fnatic started things off with a victory against the Zealots, but then the team around ADRD and Mopsio came in swinging with 3 victories in a row. Volskaya, Battlefield of Eternity, and Tomb of the Spider Queen all ending in favor of Zealots as they clutch a 3-1 victory against Fnatic and make the standings once again interesting.
And really, I think it, again, comes down to draft. Zealots, after game number 2, just realized, okay, we just need to make sure that Fnatic cannot blow us up. If they blow us up, we lose the team fight. Game number 2, they pick Medivh, so they can protect anyone they want to, and they did perfectly. We had so many moments from ADRD. And game number 3, Medivh's banned out, so they pick up Blaze, so they have a bunker. They had fail-safes just to make sure Fnatic and that coordination that they've been showing the last couple of weeks isn't available to them. And Zealots completely wiped it forward them and get a 3-1. I love the adjustments in draft, and it shows why they were able to shut them down.
Yeah, and again, I want Fnatic with a more aggressive playstyle. Johanna's great for the map. Why not pick Diablo? Why not go into ETC? You know, why not have like these heroes where he can be the aggressive playmaker at the front? Johanna just